Hi, everybody. Jeremy Plonk, Jeff Siegel from First Bet and Express Bet with a little bonus handicapping for you on this Pegasus World Cup weekend. The day after Pegasus on Sunday is mandatory payout day in the Rainbow Six at Gulfstream Park. Jeff Siegel, there's about $700,000 into the carryover into the weekend. Could be over $1 million in that kind of ballpark on Sunday. As we get handicapping a couple days out for this sequence, we've got a forecast of maybe some rain showers, but shouldn't be an off track, and we should be on the turf. Less than a 20% chance of light rain on Saturday and Sunday at Gulfstream Park. So we've got our chances with some big fields to take down this Rainbow Six.
You do. It's a challenging sequence for sure. Many wide open races. I mean, you have a chance, even with the small increment, the 20-cent increment, of actually making a serious score here. I mean, it's not always the case, but here you can get a string of middle price horses, and all of a sudden, a lot of people get knocked out. So it's worth challenging. It's worth going after for sure. You also have to have a strategy. Okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to spread, and then have two singles? Or are you going to just try to get it with 3x3 by 4x3? That's a tough way to go, because somewhere along the line there's going to be a knockout horse. I tend to, when I play pick sixes, I tend to try to figure out the races I have a pretty good feel for, and go with that, and then try to spread everything else in the races that I don't have a feel for. There are several races in this sequence that I don't have a feel for. So, but there are a couple that I do. So maybe it'll work out for me.
First post on Sunday, 12:10 Eastern. The Rainbow Six starts in race number 6. It'll be the final 6 on the card. 2:35, the scheduled post time for the 6th race. That 6th race starts things off on the synthetic, the Tapeta course at 1 1/16. These are bottom end $10,000 claimers in this particular spot, and a capacity field with some also eligibles. Jeff, no rest for the weary to get started in this pick 6. This is a challenging one right off the get.
Yeah, it is, and I ended up with Sand Dancer, but I'm gonna go to school a little bit here, because based on speed figures, Sand Dancer, his races at Woodbine his best races would probably win this race, but I don't know if you can transfer him. I mean, you theoretically should if you're using buyer numbers, but some tracks tend to get higher numbers than other tracks because two different people are doing the numbers, and sometimes you get a series of races that just don't transfer. Sand Dancer will win this race, or should win this race, if he repeats his Woodbine all-weather races in this surface, on this Tapeta surface. And that's the only thing I can go on. And if after a period of time I notice that that's not happening, then I have to adjust. But Sand Dancer, by the way, he's got 2 wins on this particular synthetic surface at Gulfstream. So that gives me confidence that he will at least be able to transfer that form. And if he does, he's back at his claim level for a high percentage outfit. So to me, Sand Dancer is the one to beat. Most Wanted Man's coming off a win, but he has to come from a mile back, and his numbers don't quite match up. So this is the kind of race where maybe you take a stand right off the bat if you're a small ticket player and you don't want to spend a lot, and try to get Sand Dancer home. Because if it's not him, then to me it could be any one of a half a dozen.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Unified Weekend. A horse claimed last time out in a race where he should have run better than he had. Great form on the synthetic here, back class on the synthetic. Brittany Vandenberg, a typically high percentage trainer, hasn't had a great meet here during the early part of this year's championship meet at Gulfstream Park. So just the 4-year-old dropped all the way in for $10,000 last time. It was an obvious horse to claim. There were probably several in there in the shake. Does she move this horse up off Antonio Sano last time? Unified Weekend with a great post position in the 2-hole, was drawn wide last time, and maybe that's the reason at 3-1 didn't run up to expectations. But I think Unified Weekend, Jeff's got Sand Dancer, 2 that you definitely want to use to start off this pick 6 in what could be a spread race for a lot of folks. So if you can narrow the ticket down right off the bat, that gives you the mathematical advantage as you spread in other races throughout the course of your budget. To the 7th race we go next, and this is scheduled for 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. Race number 7 is a maiden special weight race in here, Jeff, and we've got some first-time starters to look at here. We also have some workout videos that you want to show.
Well, the first thing I'll notice about this race is that those that have raced in the race have earned speed figures, buyer speed figures, that are far below par. So this is a really kind of a soft race. So when that happens, I think, okay, are there any first-time starters in here that maybe that I can lean on? And maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's a good spot. You don't like to take a firster when you've got several horses in the race that have above par numbers, but this is a weak race.
Mm-hmm.
Gun Barrel City is a Franco colt from the magnificent mare Mrs. McDougal, and he actually trained well enough to make our list, our eye-catching list.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been training at Palm Beach Downs on dirt. I have a hunch he's a lot better horse on, or will be a lot better horse on turf. Here was a breeze that was, it's just a 50 breeze, just an easy breeze. But you can see him, he's on the inside, and he's never really being let run here. He's a good mover. He's a big, good looking, strong colt. Just take a look at this work, Jeremy, and tell me if you think he's the kind of colt that could win first time out. Now, it's just a half and 50, but it really isn't just a half and 50 because he's going to gallop all the way out to the 3/4 pole. And when, right here, he's just going easy. And he's obviously being trained to settle early. When the jock starts chirping to him going into the clubhouse turn, this colt's going to react like you want to see him react. The rider on the horse trailing is trying to keep up. He can't do it. Meanwhile, Gun Barrel City is just cruising along, and he's going to go all the way out to the 5/8 pole, actually out 3/4 here. I mean, 7/8 even. So this work was, back in January 20th, and I think he's a very live item for Todd Pletcher, whose maidens often run better than they work. You're not going to work fast at Palm Beach Downs anyway.
Right.
I think he's fit enough to go 7/8 on grass. I mean, to me, I'd rather just single him and try to be right.
Yeah, with that pedigree by Franco out of Mrs. McDougal, it's turf on turf, right? And he's working on the dirt here, so you got to expect something even better from him as he gets onto the grass. Gun Barrel City, Johnny Velasquez riding fairly good post position in here, right? He's going to start from the 7 hole in a big field, so he's going to have a chance not to pin down on the fence and not get hung wide onto the clubhouse turns. So a good post position in there. A couple other first-time starters in here, Oscar Worthy and Freakazoid for Red Hot trainer Brian Lynch. We're going to get a chance to see Freakazoid in another workout in just a little bit, so be sure to keep an eye out on that one. I thought Liam's Journey and Film Academy amongst the horses who have run are probably the most logical of those. Of course, Liam's Journey was third in the Pilgrim Stakes last year, but still a maiden after 5 races for Mike Maker, so you don't have to jump on that one. Paco Lopez off to a good start this week, won 3 earlier on a card to start the racing week on Wednesday or Thursday. Film Academy for Javier Castellano and Mark Cassie. This is one stretching out route to sprint. We know how good Javier Castellano is on turf speed. So if Film Academy can get out to the front in this particular spot, he'll try to nurse that one as far as that day can go. By Oscar Performance out of Green Desert Mare, you would certainly think this horse could get a mile or so, and 7.5 should fit. So of the horses who have run Liam's Journey, Film Academy, the most interesting, but definitely the first-time starter for Pletcher. Impeccably bred. Franco, Mrs. McDougal. You're going to single there, right?
I think so. I think your point about Film Academy, the 2 sprints and a stretch out pattern, bred for grass, comes off an all-weather race, first-time Lasix. I mean, you could certainly double the race or have a smaller ticket, depending on how your strategy is. To me, Film Academy has a pattern that screams improvement. Whereas Liam's Journey, for me, he ran really well in the Pilgrim, but then he didn't run so well, and then he was beaten in the maiden race on the dirt. He's back on the grass. He kind of had enough chances for me to think that a good horse, a decent horse, would beat him. And Film Academy stretching out to me scares me a lot. So Gun Barrel City and Film Academy for me as a backup, or maybe you'll put them on the main ticket, depending upon how your big ticket is. But it's an intriguing race going 7.5. And we'll see how good Gun Barrel City is. If he runs to his pedigree, I think he's going to be hard to beat.
Let's turn the page in the program to race number 8. These are Florida bred, first level, optional claiming allowance type, 7 furlongs the distance. Field of 9. And when you start to think of the math and putting a ticket together, field size is going to have a large dictation along with opinion on where people try to narrow their tickets. You should always go with opinion first, but a lot of people just from a comfort zone are going to look at a field of 9 with all those 12 horse and big horse fields and say, this is where I have to narrow. But I caution against doing that unless you actually have an opinion in a race. There could be a 7 horse field where the third choice plays like a long shot because everybody's narrowing in on the same horse or two. in a particular spot. I happen to have the first horse really in the 3-race sequence to this point that I like. I like Sir Ollie a lot in this particular spot. This is a horse who's got 4 career wins against a lot of non-winners at 2. Eligible for this race because won in the claiming company and still can get into this first level, but goes in for the optional claiming price. So in for the 20. So you got a lot of first level type horses against the 4-time winner, Irad Ortiz for Bobby DeBona. High percentage connections in here. Good post position from the 4 hole. Kind of doesn't have to get pinned inside going 7/8 of a mile. I like Sir Ollie a lot in here. Where are you looking?
Well, Sir Ollie is definitely the one to beat. I mean, here's the thing. He's dropping in for 20 after a couple of starter races, and he was claimed for 25. So the connection is figuring, we're running for a $59,000 purse. That's not too bad,
Yeah.
And he's got speed. He's also got 4 career wins, all 4 at Gulfstream Park, and 7/8 will maybe it's a little stretching his limit, but on the other hand, the pace scenario looks pretty soft. And picking up Irad, I think that Sir Ollie is absolutely extremely live and well meant here. Had a run off the layoff, should be fitter here. And again, proven form at Gulfstream Park. Classify for Safi Joseph isn't quite as fast on figures as Sir Ollie. I'd throw him in only because he's only had the 4 starts. Maybe he's got some upside. He's drawn outside of Sir Ollie, so if Sir Ollie busts out there and goes, Classify can kind of sit out there and kind of prompt him or stalk him. Might get a good trip. And if Sir Ollie kind of hits the wall the last stages of the race, Classify will be right there to kind of inherit the spot. So for me, those are the 2. Again, you could go a little deeper if you wanted to, but again, everybody has a different budget and how much they want to play. But if you're a smaller ticket guy, I mean, Sir Ollie and Classify to me would be the ones.
You're not going to know right up to this race how the track's playing, but if the track's playing where speed's not holding as well as it does on some days, and you think Sir Ollie won't get the 7/8 of a mile. Beastly speed from off the pace. Tyler and Safi might be the horse with a late run in this particular spot, but I like Sir Ollie in there, and all things known by the time that the Rainbow Six starts with the main track races we have early in the card. See how it's playing. I feel pretty good about Sir Ollie in there as the one that I'd want to lean on early in the sequence. We go to the back half of the Rainbow Six, and race number 9 is next up. A 1.8 mile starter handicap for $70,000 on the synthetic, Jeff. And there are some warriors on the Tapeta in this particular spot. Fly the W has already run 12 times on the Tapeta at Gulfstream Park. Of course, Fly the W, the slogan for people flying the Chicago Cubs flag after a victory. They got the W flag there. So Cubs fans are going to be all over Fly the W. Race Craft has won 7 times already over this Tapeta surface. You've got some horses for courses in this particular spot.
You do. And when you're racing at the Tapeta, on the Tapeta, because there is no kickback, you tend to get horses that will run through the between horses, whereas on dirt, they get that thing sprayed in their face and they're a little hesitant, which is one of the reasons why a lot of these races, they bunch up in the final stages. And it's just a matter of, who gets through and who has good racing luck. So you could handicap this until next Christmas and still not be right and still not win, because the trip is everything in a big field like this. But that's one of the reasons why when I'm handicapping a race like this, I want to bet on or use horses that I know have a habit of getting there, finding a way. Fly the W mentioned a 12-time winner at Gulfstream Park over the all-weather. Racecraft, 7 wins. Conglomerate, 8 starts, 3 wins, 3 seconds, and a third. He'll be, with a little luck, he could be right there. Spirit Animal. I looked at him, and he's got really good Woodbine numbers. Might want to throw him in here. He hasn't had that much success at the Gulfstream Park, but those were sprints. So, this is a spread race. I mean, this is one of these use as many as you can afford to use type of races, because you can make a case for half the field, I think.
I'm a little bit anti 6- in this race. I think he's going to be an underlay and overbet. It's Pletcher, it's Irad Ortiz. The synthetic form hasn't been as good as the turf form, and coming out of that stakes race in the Jerkins, that's kind of a 2-mile,
it is,
cliche kind of weird race. I mean, I think he's going to be overbet off of that particular spot. And I would go with the synthetic specialist in here. Like you said, Fly the W, Racecraft, Conglomerate. They're like right next to each other in the starting gate for post 4, 5, and 6. I think all three of those are must use in this particular spot. Spirit Animal to the outside as well. But I'm going to toss 6- in this particular spot. And if he beats me, he beats me. But those are the kind of, if you can get a little separation from the public, that's what you're trying to do and take it down to pick 6 of getting a big payoff. Of course, you're just trying to survive and hit all 6, which is hard enough in these particular spots. But I'm against 6- in this particular spot in race number 9. Let's go to the 10th on the card. The race number 10 is a 5-furlong turf sprint here at Gulfstream Park. Paco Lopez is an exceptional turf sprint jockey here at the meet and historically at Gulfstream Park. He is on Highly Flammable. Paco's riding 30% in turf sprints at the current meet. He replaces Emisel Jaramillo as the jockey on Highly Flammable. I think that's a great combination, and I think Highly Flammable is going to be tough in here, but from a very difficult post position. So while I might want to really lean and jump on this horse, I don't have the confidence from that 12 hole that you're going to win a 5/8 of a mile turf sprint, even with Paco aboard. So I'm going to have to find some other horses in here. Shecky Shabazz, obviously the 9-year-old, has run well over this course in the past, and he's a classy old veteran in here. Marty Drexler, now the trainer, he's changed hands many times over the years. I think Shecky Shabazz has to be used in here, but I'm looking for some other help, Jeff. Who else might you want to put in here?
Well, I'm intrigued by Bring the Band Home, actually. A lightly raced 4-year-old in the Mischief Gelding who looks to me like he could be the quickest in the field. Coming off a nice win, Bayer numbers, career top number last time out. He's gotten to a point now where his figures are very competitive at this level. Coming off a muddy track race, first time going 5/8 on grass, and I just wonder if he busts out there and goes whether or not he could wire the field. I mean, he might not, but I mean, he certainly could. And I just think that he's one of several that you have to use. There are horses that are drawn inside. Famous Gent could make a case for him. Spy Hunter, Portofino's got speed. Shecky Shabazz has maybe lost a little bit of step. He's actually always been kind of a late running sprinter anyway. But if he's reasonably close, he's 2-time winner on the course. I mean, I would hate to lose a carryover. I mean, a carryover pick 6 ticket because I didn't use him. I mean, I know he's an old guy, 9 years of age, and likes to run second and third more. But I think I'd have to. He scares me, so I would think I have to run him on. But this is yet another race where it's a mess. And really, the good news is it's good that it's a mess because you got a chance to get some decent prices on what you're looking for, right?
Right.
On the other hand, you better have when I handicap a race like this, I start backwards. I don't figure out who I'm going to use. I'm going to figure out who I'm not going to use. And
get the X's on your page, right? Get your tosses
and then
in
see
there,
what's
right?
left, okay? And if I have to boil it down more, I'll do it. Otherwise, if I get down to like 5 or 6, I said I'm good with it. I don't know who's going to win, but one of these is probably going to win, so I'll go with that.
Because with these multi-race wagers, you're looking just for winners, right? I mean, that's the thing. Right. So starting to eliminate horses can be a little easier than if you're handicapping a race intra-race because you're like, well, I could use this horse. This horse can hang on for a share. Right. Well, as soon as they fade from first to second, they're an X in an X, right? Right. So it's a strategy when you're handicapping for a pick 6 or even a pick 4, pick 5. Handicap it different than you do in an intra-race situation. Start with your eliminations and start to whittle the field down. Let's go to the 11th and final race. Hopefully you're alive in the cash out leg. This is the second 7.5 furlong maiden special that we have on the card. And we've got another workout to look here. A Brian Lynch trainee in Hello Hollywood gets post number 3 for the debut. Worked against Trapezoid, a horse who is in race number 7 earlier. So this kind of gives you a chance to look at both of those horses. Jeff, let's run the video here. Or Freakazoid, not Trapezoid. I got my geometry mixed up. The Hello Hollywood on the inside, the gray, the one you like in this particular spot.
She's a really good mover. Look at she's an athlete. She's going really easy. 1 minute and 3/5 around dogs is a good time on that course. And the horse on the outside being niggled at to try to stay even. The filly on the inside just galloping, just breezing. I have watched Hello Hollywood in workouts on dirt, and trust me on this, she is way, way better on grass than she is on dirt. She gets over the ground really nicely. I think she's an extremely live item here for Brian Lynch. Again, situation similar to the last race we had was in that those that have raced, none of them have earned close to the par for the level at Byron numbers, the 77 Byron number. There's none of the fillies in this race that have run once or twice or many more than times than that have ever achieved that number. So Hello Hollywood finds herself not only from a lovely 3-hole post, but facing fillies that really aren't as good as the norm. Let's put it that way. So I think she's got a great foundation. I know Brian Lynch doesn't have a great record with first-time starters, but this is a filly that breezed 46 and change at Palm Meadows on grass. I mean, earlier last December. He's given her plenty of time to get fit and ready. And again, an athlete with, I think, enough early speed to be in a good position from a very favorable post. And again, one of these situations where if I can get to this point alive, and I've only have Hello Hollywood on my ticket, I'm going to feel pretty good about it. I like have the whole field at that stage, but I can't. But I might not be able to get to the stage if I don't spread early on. So I'm going to think it's going to be right with Hello Hollywood, and if she's as good as I think she is, I like my chances.
All right, that's a big single there to close things up. The likely favorite in the race is very vulnerable in here to me, that being Yes to Champagne. This horse was beaten at 2-1, 2 starts back, got beat last time out at 9-5. They add blinkers, they add Lasix. They're throwing the kitchen sink to try to get over the top. But when you have the lead going 24-2, 50-1, 114-2 on this Gulfstream turf course, and you still get beat as the 9-5 favorite, you've got to prove it to me. So Yes to Champagne to me looks very vulnerable in here. And that's what you're talking about. The horses who have run look like they have flaws to them. So go with the first-time starter, and a first-time starter that there's something you like about it on there as well with Hello Hollywood, the way she worked. I thought Mama Bella of the horses who have run is the one that's most interesting to me because I like the jockey change and the additional Lasix here. Really outran the odds last time, moving sprint to route and dirt to turf. And now you go from Sammy Camacho to Ocean Murphy, and you get to save ground from the rail in here. First time Lasix after a troubled trip last time. I think Mama Bella's got a shot in here amongst the horses who have run. Jeff loves the first time starter in here, Hello Hollywood. So those would be the two that we would recommend to get you through the final leg of the Rainbow Six. How much money will be in the jackpot? We will find out. First post 12:10 on Saturday or on Sunday for the Rainbow Six. The Rainbow Six gets underway in race number 6 at 2:35. Hopefully our handicapping help was beneficial to you and take down that Rainbow Six on Sunday. We will be back on Tuesday with our It's Official podcast, where each week we wrap up 5 hot topics in horse racing. And also be sure to check out our Friday podcast, First Call, where we handicap weekend stakes races for you each and every Friday. Jeff Siegel, good luck to you on Sunday.
Good luck to you two and all of our listeners, and it'll be a really good, challenging handicapping exercise, and do the work and hopefully be rewarded.
For more on the Rainbow Six, be sure to check out GulfstreamPark.com, where local handicappers Brian Natto, and he will be there with Samantha Perry with their full card picks as well, so you can get their analysis at GulfstreamPark.com. Good luck, everybody.